And call the meeting to order. Patty, I'm going to ask you if you could, if you have the agenda handy, possibly.
Yep.
Uh, I know we kept going back and forth on the agenda, so I know the updated one came out yesterday. So if
Yeah.
you don't mind refreshing my recollection as to the first item, please.
Okay, the first item was call to order, which we did. Second
Great.
item is the CUPOP procedure flow chart, review revised document.
Great, thank you, Patty. So we did not post the flow chart for this meeting because that project has been terminated. I did meet with the town attorney regarding it, and it was decided that instead the town attorney will be contacting on his own all the chair heads of all the commissions and committees in town and advising them as to what the procedure is regarding publicly owned property. So therefore, that project has been terminated for CUPOP. So that is good news because we did, as you know, want to get the message out there as to what our integral part of and our role is in regard to publicly owned property. We are CUPOP. So hopefully this information will be useful to TPZ as they move forward with subdivisions, as well as all other property within the town that's publicly owned. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? All
No.
right.
Nice.
Moving right along. Next, Patty.
Okay, next item, item 3 is the 1014 Merritt Ave review recommendation summary.
Great, thank you. So I did send out to everyone the draft of the memorandum that we will be sending to Board of Selectmen and copying GPZ on regarding 1014 Merritt Avenue. I think the best idea would be to, and just for purposes of the record, this is available on the website as well for this evening's meeting for anyone watching at home. So I suppose we should just go paragraph by paragraph, ensure that there aren't any typos, ensure that all the information in here is what we decided upon at our last meeting, and make any corrections that we need to. Okay. So the first paragraph.
Just a question, is everything that's in there, is that set in stone? There's no discussion left?
The recommendation was already unanimously approved. So if it's regarding the actual recommendation, then no, that is set and has already been voted on. But if there's information within this document that does not represent what was discussed at the last meeting, then of course, please step in on that. And also, if there are any typos or anything of that nature. But substantively, this has already been decided. So the first paragraph is pursuant to its role as defined in the Town of Woodbridge Charter, the use of Publicly Owned Property Commission, CUPOP, analyzed the proposed open space offered by the developer of the 10-14 Merritt Avenue subdivision to determine whether the proposed land would provide a beneficial use for the town of Woodbridge. And then I put town, so it's easier for us to type in there. Any issues with the first paragraph? Did I miss anything or any typos? Patty, you're the good editor, so anything in there? Okay.
Not see a thing.
All right, great. As presented.
Nicole,
Yeah.
actually, prior to the first paragraph, the two line where it says Board of Selectmen, I think that should be Select Men, M-E-N.
Oh, geez, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Patty, you missed that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're fired, Patty. That's
Uh-oh, there you go. That's all it takes.
Right. Okay. Again, I did type this out as the evening prior, so it was getting kind of late. So I apologize for any of my typos. As presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, TPZ, the developer proposed a quote trail corridor along the east bank of the West River to be deeded to the town in fee simple to provide a location for a trail from the New Haven town line to Merritt Avenue. End quote. Now, if you go to Appendix A and B, A should be the letter indicating that exact language from JPGA. And then subsequently in Appendix B, there should be a map that outlines that information. Okay. And I wanted to provide this. I know TPs already has this, but of course, when we're writing a memorandum, we want to make sure that we are referencing where we're receiving the information from. So getting back to that. Appendix A and B, to comply with Chapter 8 of the TP in a federally regulated high-risk flood zone, Appendix C. This was the map that was referenced by Javier when we were discussing this topic. And I just want to double check it's here. So you all should have that. That's the FEMA flood zone map. As indicated in the West River, and I know there's a big space here, Patty, so I saw that. So sorry.
Right.
I will fix that. As indicated in the West River Watershed Management Plan, in parentheses, August 2015, page 7, Appendix D, which is what I'm referencing, which is in part of our documents. Double check it's correct here while I'm on here with you. Okay. This is a very lengthy document that I was referencing during the meeting, and this was the information I provided. There is a long history of flooding along the West River located in the, and this is again a quotation from, pulled directly from the report, Woodbridge Flats, that's what they refer to as the area, due to storm drain systems being over capacity during rainstorms coupled with significant and frequent riverine flooding. Riverine or riverine? Tomato. So that's what I put into that paragraph. Any issues with that paragraph? And Javier, was there anything I missed? Because this was a point that you brought up during our discussion that is not reflected in this paragraph.
Not that I can recall.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing is what you already mentioned, just that
Mhm.
city staff or after appendix.
Yes, and I noticed that when I printed it out, and it was just too late to change it. So I figured we would make sure that we do that on today's meeting.
Mhm.
The second point that was made is that the proposed land is not a viable piece of existing or future trails. Now, if there's a better way to describe that, please let me know. But I figured that was the easiest way to describe that point. I don't know if I'm happy with the word piece, but if there's any other maybe link, I don't know.
Parcel,
Parcel,
maybe?
parcel, link.
Yeah, the proposed land is not a viable.
I mean, we could just say it's not a
Section.
viable place for
hmm.
existing and future trails.
What did you say, Javier? I'm sorry.
Let's say we could say it's not a viable place for existing or future trails.
Okay. Or parcel. Okay. So are we going with 4? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, place 4.
The proposed land is not attached and is not located near any existing trail system within the Woodbridge Greenway, Appendix E. Okay, there's that. That's a map of the Greenway. Nor the Connecticut Greenway, which is Appendix F. And that's a zoomed in map of the Connecticut Greenway, where it actually physically shows Merritt Avenue on that map.
You need to take the period out of after Appendix E or commit to making it 2 sentences and then capitalize nor. It's up to you.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Good eye there. Patty, did you have that?
I did, but I was waiting for the end of the paragraph.
Oh, she said Patty was being polite, unlike Allison. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Patty. Okay. The proposed land does not offer a viable link to the Connecticut Greenway due to its distance from its existing trails. And this is the path that I believe it was Javier that discussed this. That goes actually over the Heroes Tunnel. I actually described it here, so never mind. See, I did listen to you, Javier. There is an existing trail that allows for the contiguity of the Connecticut Greenway, Addendum F, again referring to that, which crosses over the Wilbur Cross Parkway above the West Rock Heroes Bridge. So that's what Javier was discussing at the meeting, that we already have that trail that goes over the Merritt, over the bridge. The West River Coalition has created walking paths along the West River on the New Haven side. However, contiguity of the walking trails to Woodbridge is impossible. I'm going to say is made impossible. Do you think that sounds better? Is impossible due to the Wilbur Cross Route 15 corridor. Or just leave it the way as is.
I would leave it with impossible because it already is.
Okay, right. Okay. All right, Patty.
No,
Edits?
nothing else, just that what we already said.
Okay, now did I miss anything regarding this, this particular point that was made at the meeting? Okay.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
Mhm.
Tony, Laura would like you to resend the link. She wants to join. Sorry.
Okay, the next topic that was discussed was the proposed land does not provide a recreational purpose. The proposed land is not easily accessible from the east. Now, make sure I have this correct, Javier, because of my east and my west here. The proposed land is not easily accessible from the east due to overgrown vegetation and wet marshy land, Appendix H. And these are just for reference, or the photographs that we had at our last meeting. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I have. I messed up here. To the north, due to its location close to the Merritt Avenue Bridge and overgrown vegetation. And I know I have this wrong. It should be appendix. Appendix I. The south, due to the Wilbur-Cross Parkway, Appendix I and J, nor the west, due to the West River, Appendix I. So they kind of like cross-reference each other in the photos because we had 4 photos. So yes, I saw that typo. The characteristics and access limitations may pose a liability for the town should anyone attempt access under current conditions. In addition, the West River in this location, quote, is not supporting for recreation or aquatic life, end quote, as detailed in the West River Watershed Plans Figure 1-4, water quality impairments in the West River watershed. And that I included in a I keep saying appendum, I don't know, Appendix A, limiting any potential recreation use such as water play or fishing. Now, this addresses the recreation discussion that we had, in addition to possible liability on the part of the town that was also brought up. I don't remember who brought that up. Anything I'm missing from that piece? That's where I put in liability, and that's where I put in the recreational piece.
Mhm.
Nicole, did we not use Appendix G for anything? Because it looks like we skipped straight from F.
Oh, we did?
G is the picture.
Hmm. You know what happened is when I was retyping this that night, I had to move the letters around because of the way that we added it. So G is a picture. Let me see.
It's a picture of well, it's this one.
Yes, yes, yes. I have it right here.
Yeah.
So that is the east. So that should be reflected. Okay. So where it says the proposed land is not easily accessible from the east due to overgrown vegetation and wet marshy land, that should say Appendix G.
Okay.
Now it makes sense there. Okay. Let me just double
No.
check everything else matches up. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have.
The only other thing is, if we're gonna capitalize, the first sentence capitalize east, the direction, but then north and south further on is not capitalized. I don't know if you just go one way or the other.
Okay. North.
So north, and then the third line, there's a south.
Okay. And so as such, these appendix letters are going to get moved down because it was a G that was missing. Thank you, Javier, for pointing that out. So I will move all the letters up one. So now it'll be overgrown Merritt Avenue, Appendix H, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Mhm.
Miss WH. Okay. Anything regarding, thank you for pointing that out. So I'm going to fix the appendix. Okay. Anything else regarding that first paragraph? Or of this page, not the first paragraph of the document. Okay. All right. Next point that was brought to our attention during the meeting was accepting the proposed land would decrease taxable revenue. Now, Javier, this is all you because I want to make sure that this is all accurate. pertaining to the information that was presented or given to us by the tax assessor's office. So I don't know if you had time to review that and ensure that that is correct. But this is the information that we discussed regarding decreased tax revenue possibilities. So I'll go through it so everybody can hear it. Accepting the land would decrease tax revenue for the town, although an estimate of revenue derived from the proposed open space property is difficult to ascertain currently. To put the subdivision revenue into perspective, as of January 12th, I see that. That should be a comma. 2023, comma. The town assessor's office provided, I see that, Patty, CUPOP with the following information. The assessment for 2021 on 10 space Merritt Avenue, which was split for construction as of 10/21/22, was 439,880 with an under construction assessment for 2022 of 317,900 and comma and 14 Merritt Avenue I should say at 264,220. Is that so far accurate, Javier?
Yes.
Okay. And I am fixing that the punctuation there, Patty. So I saw that. Um, the 2021 mill rate is 43.77, and the 2022 mill rate will be set the end of May. That's correct.
Should we just or specify that it's May 2023? Since we're talking about different years.
Sure. Sure. Good idea. An estimate of tax revenue on the 2022 grand list for both parcels is 25,479. And then I do need to put the dollar signs in here for 317,900 plus 264,200 equals 582,120 times 0.04377 equals 25,479. That's basically the mathematics behind that. And yes, I will put in dollar signs, so I have to get that. Once construction is complete, the 2022 grand list will be adjusted to add the difference from the date of completion to September 2023. Although wetlands open space has a different valuation, the mill rate remains the same. Therefore, accepting the open space will reduce the revenue intake for the subdivision. Does that represent the information we were given? Correct.
So I'm going to go back to the beginning of this paragraph. That much the same way we did for the rest of the document. Do we have to provide a source or citation for these numbers, like in some kind of addendum?
If you want to, we could. I mean, we could certainly cut and paste the information provided, right? And we can do that if you feel that that's something that we want to do.
Yeah. So I think we should, given that we're not making these numbers up, right?
Right, exactly. Okay.
So I'll work on that. And then the second sentence that says, although an estimate of revenue derived from the proposed open space.
It says form, not from. So change the word form to from.
Oh yeah, from, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I would suggest saying, although an estimate of revenue derived solely from the proposed open space property.
Gotcha.
To make it clear, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's difficult to ascertain. I would get rid of currently,
okay.
And then also to put the subdivision revenue into perspective. So that entire sentence, I think, should read, although an estimate of revenue derived solely from the proposed open space property is difficult to ascertain, comma, as of January 12th, 2023.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? The town's assessor office provided CUPOP with the following information, colon.
Yeah.
Or put a colon there and then start listing the assessment for 2021. Right? And then that kind of, in my opinion, flows a little bit better.
Right. Okay. And then the dollar signs, I got that, Patty. I know you're
Yeah,
good from
yeah.
the dollar signs
Mhm.
Talked about 2022.
and the other typo in there and the space.
The only thing I would suggest also is the last sentence where it starts off after the semicolon says, therefore accepting the open space will reduce. I would make that accepting the open space will reduce tax revenue from the subdivision. Make it a little bit more succinct.
Okay.
And those are the only
So
suggestions that I
semicolon,
had.
say, do you want to keep the therefore, or just get rid of the therefore?
I don't know that you need the therefore.
Okay.
I agree.
Mhm.
Okay. So accepting the open space will reduce the tax revenue from this will reduce tax revenue from the subdivision. Period. Okay. Whew, all right. So that was a doozy of a paragraph. Lots of math involved. But is there anything that I missed in that, Javier? And if you can get that to me, I hate to do this to you, but if there's any way you can get it to me tonight, I'd like to submit this to Chris Sullivan and to Jerry Shaw for Board of Selectmen as soon as I can.
I'll
So
work
they
on
know.
that.
Thank you. Okay. The other issue, and I know there's a space there, Patty, so I'm gonna fix that one. The other point that was made by the commission was that there are current protections in place to adequately protect the proposed open space. Um, the town does not have to view ownership of the proposed land as an only recourse to ensure protection of the West River. There are adequate current protections in place. The Connecticut, and these are all the ones that we went over during our meeting. The Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has designated the entire West River watershed as an official Connecticut greenway, which created a corridor of open space to protect resources. The West River Coalition protects the waterway by addressing pollution in order to provide clean water, healthy plants, and good habitat for birds, fish, and animals while creating learning opportunities and developing community service to care for the river. And I gave a source there if anybody wants to look that up. And state and town wetland regulations offer additional protection for the area, which also was discussed. So that was a point that we made. I think that's kind of um, I guess what I could probably do too is what I should do, and to your point, Javier, is I will put in the site for the CTDEP, so that people can also view that website as well, where the Connecticut um, Greenway is located, or the information about it anyway. So I'll do that as well. Okay. Put in site. Okay. And then miscellaneous. I mean, we did discuss this at the meeting, and I don't know if we need to put this in there, but I wanted this to include all the points that were made during the meeting about the other piece of property that we did discuss as well, that conservation had proposed to TPZ instead of this other, or in addition to the property that the developer proposed. So let me know what you think. I just put on miscellaneous in it because it is not on the table from the developer. So in addition to the proposal made by the developer, CUPOP assessed conservation commissions, and that was WCC. I got to put the quotes in there. Recommendation to TPZ to acquire open space in the area of lots 13 and 14. CUPOP unanimously conclude that the open space within lots 13 and 14 do not provide a benefit to the town, but a benefit to.
You're gonna add two, right?
Yeah, I put that in. Thank you. The area proposed is located behind other units to the west. And again, to Patty's point, we have to decide capital or, with the west. A fence to the north and east, and the Wilbur Cross Parkway to the south. And I did provide an addendum, which is the photograph that we passed around at the meeting of this particular area. The location of this property and the limited access to it would only benefit those who reside within the subdivision and not the town as a whole. Is there another way that you would like to word that? I mean, I just threw that in there because I believe that we should, again, bring up all the points that were brought by all the commission members. What are your thoughts on that?
Why did we just put a parenthesis in WCC but not TPZ? I didn't know.
Oh,
if
I
there
want to put it
was-
on WTC. I did put on TPZ. It's in the second paragraph of the document.
Well, the miscellaneous section that we're in, the second line has it WCC in parentheses with an,
Well, typically when you write a document, and this is just, it's just formality that when you're referring to an agency for the
mhm.
first time and you want to use a different, a vernacular for them, like a WCC or TPZ or the town, and you
Yep.
put in parentheses and then in quotes what you're going to call them throughout the document. And this is the first time that WCC was mentioned. So that's why it's the first time you're going to see them in quotations and in parentheses. We mentioned TPZ in the second paragraph, so obviously we're not going to continuously put them in there. We just utilize TPZ.
Gotcha.
Just
All
like
right, so,
CUPOP is just CUPOP, but initially it's in parentheses and under quotes.
yep, that
You
makes
know what I
sense. So then just put the quotes at the end of the WCC in that parenthesis. It's on one side, not the other.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you. Thank you.
Really important stuff here, right?
It's helpful. It's helpful. There's nothing worse than putting in a document with all the typos. It gets me crazy. Okay. Is
Nicole,
there?
I don't have an appendix L in my packet.
I don't either, actually. It ends with K. I didn't.
Oh, it ends with K. All right, so change that to K. That's where the letters ended up in that other paragraph where we had to switch them up and switch to G. That's where the letters ended up crossing, I think, is back there. So there is only these are the only addendums attached to the document. So I will fix the letters, okay, to make sure that they correspond with the pieces in the back. But that must be that paragraph back on page 2 where there was a confusion between the G and the H. So I'll just go back and make sure that they're all in a proper order. Okay. I apologize for that. Again, it was very late when I was finishing this up. Um, do we feel like we need to put that in there, or should we leave it out? What are your thoughts? I mean, I think all information is helpful. I mean, the more information, the better. But I don't know if anybody feels strongly either way on that.
I,
I think we should leave it in. I mean, I think that's something that is kind of pivotal to our recommendations for the entire proposal.
Okay.
I agree.
it's fine.
I mean, I didn't get into great detail because unfortunately we didn't have anybody to give us information, more information regarding that particular issue. But I do know from watching the TPZ meetings that did come up at the last meeting. So I felt that it was important for us to acknowledge that and to provide, as we did. We already made the recommendation during our meeting. So, okay.
I don't see a reason to take it out, so we
Mhm.
might as well, like, there's no reason to actively remove it, so you
Right.
might as well just leave it in.
Right, I agree. Okay. All right, and then community input. Now, as I mentioned, our reports will have a community input in there. So if anybody comes to our meetings, and so in this particular instance, and in any interested parties, in this particular instance, I thought it was important to know that this is where we will put community input. That we did not have any community input for that day. Tim, I did send him an email as I indicated during the meeting to attend, which he attends anyway because he's the ex officio member, and provide CUPOP with their position regarding this property. He was not able to attend, and I had asked if he would send an alternate, and I did not receive a response. So I wanted to be clear that we did offer an interested party to come and discuss this at the meeting. And so I wanted it to be known that their position is not reflected in the report. And that was it. And then that we hope that the memorandum is helpful to unless there's any typos. Is there any typos in there, Patty?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
however, it shouldn't be capitalized. However, Mr. Austin,
Oh.
however, would be lower.
Got it.
And then Mr. Austin, Mr. MR period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
excuse me.
And a space. I think I'm missing a space. So
Yep.
I will do that too. Okay.
And Patty, did you see the two that I wanted
Yep.
to include, yep, okay.
We added that previously before you jumped
Okay.
on the call.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
thanks, Laura.
yeah.
And then,
And, I did see a memo from, um, what's Tim? And he said he couldn't attend, but he said that there was no one interested in attending.
Mhm.
Did you receive that? Did you see that email?
That was
Yeah.
for tonight, right?
Yeah.
just for
right.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. And so I just ended it by saying, which is pretty much how we'll probably end every memorandum, that we hope that this memorandum is helpful to the commission regarding the open space proposal for the 1014 Merritt Avenue subdivision. Should you need any additional information, please not hesitate to contact me at my email.
Okay. Well, the bottom line is that the Board of Selectmen, I mean, we can make this recommendation, but the Board of Selectmen is gonna approve it or say, yes, we don't want it, or yes, we do want it. So that's,
No, it's actually TPZ that has the authority for subdivisions, Laura. TPZ has the authority. We are sending it to the Board of Selectmen because we report to the Board of Selectmen and
Right.
copying TPZ on it because they are the ultimate.
got it,
deciders
got
on
it. Okay, okay. Yeah.
But we have to give it. We are
You
giving.
have to give it to the Board of
Exactly.
Selectmen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they can say, yeah, we want it, or no, we don't want it, or, and then the TPZ can do what they need to do. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. So the TPZ meeting. So that's it. So those are all the changes for the memorandum.
Nicole, just one thing in your last paragraph,
Mhm.
rather than helpful to the commission, you might want to say helpful to the board. Because
Oh,
you're saying, right, to the board of selectmen and the TPZ.
Mhm.
I'll
Right.
say the board and TPZ. Good idea. Good
Good
idea.
point. Yeah.
Okay. And then my goal is to make these changes this evening with Javier sending over that one piece that we're going to put in. So we'll have another addendum or appendix. I could fix that addendum and appendix. Oh, and
Just pick one.
I'll
It
just
doesn't
I keep
matter.
going back and forth. I like appendix. I'm doing appendix. I think that's what I'm
Okay.
doing. I always use them interchangeably depending on what I'm doing, and I'm going to do appendix. So it's not an addendum, so I have to keep that in my head. But so that is what I will make the changes as discussed during this meeting. A final copy of this memorandum will be put on our website for review for anybody who would like to review it. As indicated earlier, I will be sending a copy of this to the Board of Selectmen as well as TPZ via Jerry Shaw and Chris Sullivan. I hope to do that this evening. The TPZ meeting is on Monday and the Board of Selectmen meet, I believe, I want to say on Wednesday, but I had to double check that. And that's it. So we got all the grammatical errors fixed and we have all the punctuation fixed. So that's great. Not any major changes, which is a good sign. Patty, is that the last item on the agenda?
Yep, it is. Yeah, we only had 4 items. Adjournment is number 4.
All right, great. Well, thank you, everybody. That was pretty quick. I'm glad we finished in under an hour. And we will see you at the regular meeting. I will send out a final copy with all of these corrections to everyone so you have it for your records. And again, it will be on our website as soon as I get it to Tony, and I'll be emailing her at the same time. So thank you, everyone, for your work. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry to keep you from what you need to do on a Thursday night. So thank you. Thanks for everything you guys do and everything, all the hard work. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
night.
You too.
Have a good night.
Bye
All
bye.
right, bye-bye.